Welcome to twoquestions.tv. With me today is Karla Jo Helms, and we're talking about remote work. Welcome to twoquestions.tv. I'm your host, Susan Baroncini-Moe. With me today is Karla Jo Helms. She's the CEO and visionary between Johto PR. She cut her teeth in PR via crisis management, working with litigation attorneys, private investigators, and the media to help restore companies of goodwill back into the graces of public opinion. Hi, Karla. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
Thanks
that was a great introduction.
I always love it when my guests tell me that their introduction is great. I'm like, you sent it to me.
Awesome.
Well, I'm really happy to have you here because your firm is so great and your team always sends me the best guests. And I was so happy to see that you were going to come and talk to me about remote work. So let's dive in.
Yeah, let's do. It's a big topic for discussion these days. It has been for years.
It's true. And I only get to ask you 2 questions about it. So we'll see how far we get.
I'll try to jam as much good information as I can.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Well, so we're seeing, and this started a few years ago, we started seeing Yahoo to pull in their remote staff. And that kills me for those employees, thinking of what that must be like for them. So I'm wondering, why do you think companies like IBM and Yahoo are reeling their remote staff back in when we know the research shows that remote work saves a ton of overhead and those employees are, according to the research, able to do their work remotely and they're happier and more productive? Why are companies pulling back on it?
From my experience, I think it comes from, it all comes down to numbers, especially when you're dealing with larger corporations and profit margins can get smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
Employees are one of your biggest assets. Really, you should look at it that way. They're also one of your biggest expenses.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it comes down to management and knowing that you're getting the production out of those employees. Mm-hmm. And they might not have been able to really figure out the processes for managing by statistics as well as fostering that human element with a remote workforce.
Well, your company is fully remote, right? Your PR firm. And so you have people all over the country, all over the world?
We have people all over the country.
Okay.
Not all over the world yet. I'm not navigating those laws yet.
Yeah, that's complicated, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have explored that. It is very complicated.
Yeah.
So you have this team that is fully remote. What are the best practices that you put in place in terms of management so you maintain both productivity and engagement?
That is the number one question. It's a great question. And I can say for your listeners that we weren't always remote. So I do have the other side of the coin to compare it to, and I do have judgment for that. We went remote in 2014. I started my company in 2009. Oh. So in 2014, we went remote, and it was by the request and behest of my key employees, believe it or not.
Interesting.
Some of my very large clients were going remote, or they had put certain sections of their company in remote. 700-person sales teams, things like that.
Wow.
And it was to me, very, very interesting. So engagement and productivity, the very thing that you have to do is you have to really put in processes and virtual meeting times and reporting systems, and you have to manage by statistics and have that into a very congruent, scheduled, almost militant sort of consistency and schedule for your employees, right? It is the consistency of that that allows people to really work, right? Because they know there's certain points when there's going to be meetings and there's going to be quote unquote FaceTime, virtual FaceTime.
Right.
But they also know that they're required to get certain things done. They're measured by a statistic no matter what they do. So it's very measurable by what they've done and the output, not by personality. Mm-hmm. So I'll give you an example. And when I say militant, it's the structure that gives people stability, right? And, when you have walls, right, and you have a time to be there and a time to leave and a time for lunch and a break, and you have certain meetings, that's very structured and it's very stable. So you have to mirror that virtually. So like, there is an 8:30 meeting with all the execs virtual to go over how their strategy is working for the month. Are they on target? Are they behind? What are they doing? How are they handling their, juniors? The rest of the team and the different groups, they also have a production meeting, and they're beholden, believe it or not, to each other based on, this is their battle plan for the month, how they're working on that, what they're doing for that, if they're down, if they're up, what they're doing to, continue that or rectify that. They actually, believe it or not, we have more meetings, but they love it, right? That calls probably about 20 minutes. Then they get on with their day. Once a week, there's a large staff meeting where there's a very structured set of things that are gone over. So everybody knows what's happening in the company on a bullet point basis, right? And then there's, we do Skype for Business. So there is a way to ping your colleague or ping your superior if you have a question that's vital to production. At that same time, you can see when someone's in a conference. You can see when it says do not disturb. And so, you have these things. And then, for the guys that are closest together, you have quarterly like events where you can, get them together to collaborate. You at least try to get everybody to come down if you can once a year to collaborate, but you really have to have that reporting system. And then a daily report from if you have juniors, what's done, what they got accomplished. And so there's never a question. That's really what you have to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are very similar to the things that I have several clients who have very successful companies like yours, lots of people distributed around the country. And I wondered if you were going to say that you bring people in person together for actual FaceTime in person, because that's something that most of the companies I've worked with or talked with that are doing this have found to be one of the most important parts, because it's a part of the engagement and building the relationship.
Yes, you do. And you have to really structure it around, of course, costs to do so. Sure. And time and things like that, but it is that live connection. We're with them 80% of our week.
Yeah.
Right. So, getting that in there, I think that's probably the most challenging.
Yeah. Well, you saved a lot of money doing this.
Yeah. Saved money, improved efficiency. I had this very New York loft, you can imagine, for a cutting edge PR firm.
Sure.
And it was beautiful, but it was overhead, right?
Yeah.
And when my employees gave me a proposal, a very, I swear to you, a detailed proposal.
Good job, team.
I know. I had this, I could have had, remember that commercial a long time ago? I'm dating myself. I could have had a V8.
Oh yeah. No, I remember it too. It's fine. There was I
could have had a V8. Oh my gosh, let's try this. But all that money we've actually put into a building fund should we decide to get a building in the future, right? But yes, our productivity, the first year, I will admit, we declined from 25% productivity to 20%.
Ooh.
I was the one that was the most unstable. The rest of my guys did great. I just, having that physical location was sort of a stable datum for me.
Yeah.
But then we've climbed back up to 40%. And so we hover around a 40% productivity, which is something I never could do when we had walls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely has saved us money and made us more efficient and proficient.
Very cool. Very cool. So Karla, you're going to come back and talk to us about PR another time, right?
Yes, I would love to.
Excellent.
That's my favorite subject of all subjects.
Excellent. Good. So viewers, be on the lookout for that. Karla Jo Helms, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, you're so welcome. I hope your listeners and your viewers really get something about this, out of this. And if anybody wants to contact me on the side and ask me questions, it's totally up to you. But, I'm willing to lend my help on this particular subject.
Absolutely. And we will have the link to your firm in the show notes for today so that everyone can contact you if they want either awesome PR, because really you do have the best clients, and awesome PR, or you want to learn more about remote work and talk to someone who's actually implementing and putting it into place. So great. Thanks, Karla. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you.
Viewers, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.